What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Jeff Needs Help. This is a really special show tonight. We are talking about the mega hit Amazon original series, Invincible. And tonight with me, I've got a great guest. We're going to mix it up a little bit. I've got Josh from For Nerds by Nerds here with me. Josh, how are you tonight?
What's up, buddy? How's it going?
It's great, man. I'm so happy that we've been had this in the works for what, 3 or 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
First of all,
your Mortal Kombat episode.
Yes, we did Mortal Kombat together. Everybody go back and listen to that. And first and foremost, Josh did a great full season in-depth show on Invincible a couple weeks ago. I recommend everybody go listen to that. Go check it out. For Nerds by Nerds. You guys know how to find them on any podcast network you like. So what we're doing tonight is we're kind of piggybacking on that, and we're doing our Invincible 10 questions. So it's kind of like the 10 biggest questions we had as we were watching this fantastic series. That's how this is going to be. So first of all, listen to For Nerds by Nerds, Invincible, and all their other stuff they got out there. And then, check this out. It'll make sense. So Josh, thanks for coming on, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, buddy. I'm super pumped.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did the whole episode, and I still have so much more to talk about. Like, there's so much to it.
Yeah, I know, and we'll probably get into that. So first of all, like, you love the show, I love the show, and meant a lot to us. Before we get into the questions, I got to say, like, just your overall view of the show. Did you know it was coming on Amazon? Like, were you aware? I got completely I didn't know. This came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, I heard about this comic book a few years ago, and I really wanted to read it because, like, I heard kind of like I said in my episode, I heard like the basic outline of basically the first season, so like some things were spoiled for me. But I also heard it's extremely long because it's so much more. I heard the other day Robert Kirkman has like plans. He already has it planned out for like 8 seasons, and he could go more off of that because all the books together are like this thick. Like, it is enormous. It's like the Bible. But then when I heard they were bringing it to Amazon as a animated show, I was like, well, I don't need to read it right now. Then I don't want to spoil it.
No, I did the same thing. So out of nowhere, this was right when Falcon and Winter Soldier were coming, were out. And I turn on Amazon. It's like, oh, Invincible. And I'm like, oh, that looks like a comic book show. I'll watch anything, especially after what they did with The Boys. I would imagine you're a fan of The Boys, right?
Boys is great. Yeah.
So I see it and I'm like, oh, I'll check that out sometime. So we were getting ready to go on our first trip in a long time. And then I'm just one of those guys. I always just have something downloaded on my phone in case I wake up in the middle of the night or whatever. So I download the first 2 episodes. I get up early on whatever morning I think it was after about episode 3. And I'm just like, okay, I'll check out this show. And I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, this is okay. The first episode. And then the end of the first episode, everybody knows. First of all, everybody, spoiler alert, we will ruin everything for you if you haven't seen the show. So I watch it. It gets to that credit scene. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. Like, is this my favorite thing ever?
It's so weird, too, because it seemed like the episode was over. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. Here's this extremely brutal thing you didn't see coming at all.
It was like, oh, that whole episode meant nothing. This 2 minutes is all that matters. The shock value of it was just unreal. So I watched that. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So luckily I had the next episode downloaded too. So I could not wait. The next morning, I'm like, okay, I got to watch this. And I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is great. I knew nothing about it. So I was the perfect, candidate. I didn't know the actors. I was like, holy cow, I recognize that actor. I was like, is that Zaza Beetz? What is happening right here? This is blowing my freaking mind. Like, it just kept getting better and better and better. I can't explain what I don't know, just out of nowhere, what a great thing it was to just. So then have you went back and read any of the books?
No, not yet. I was thinking about picking up the first compendium because I think it pretty much ends right where the first season ends.
Yes, I would.
I just don't want to read ahead now that I know this has already been picked up for 2 more seasons, so I don't want anything like spoiled for myself.
Yes,
so already it is.
Yeah, right before we get in our 10 questions, I had this huge turmoil, so I immediately went and downloaded the books because they're available. I don't know where all this Hoopla extends to, but around here, Hoopla is based on our the app is based on our local library system. So you just download Hoopla. If it's available, you get it for free, just like you're checking out a book. It's awesome. It's really great thing. Oh yeah, there's so many good and they have whole volumes on there. So they got the whole Invincible volumes on there. I'm like, okay, I'm in. So then I'm reading it along with the show I'm watching, and then I start going, well, do I want to wait? Do I want to go forward? I don't know what to do. So I get through the first season. And I'm like, so right now, as of right now, I've got the second volume downloaded and I don't know what to do. I'm like, no, I don't want to ruin the show, but do I want to wait a year? It's killing me. But you can definitely go read the first, series. It's just enough different that it's worth reading, if that makes sense. But the show might be a little better. They dig into, especially Invincible's mom, Mark's mom. They dig into her. They open her a little bit more up in the show. They literally, for lack of a better term, they switch roles and races and some things like that I think make the show way better. I mean, this book's not that new. It's 15, 16 years old, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's newer in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, it's been out for quite a while now. I mean, like I said, you put the whole thing together, and it's thousands upon thousands of pages. Like,
and I can't wait. So I'm still struggling with it. I haven't decided. I have it loaded and ready to go, but I don't want to ruin how great of a show this was because I think it's one of the most amazing shows that I've ever seen. If I'm being honest, I think a lot of it was the animation. This book, the animation looks exactly like the actual book.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how they're like, nope, we're sticking with it. I know you brought it up a couple times. Like it may look a little, dated and cheesy, but it actually worked for the show. I don't know. It took a lot of nuts to do it this way. And I think it paid off in folds.
Yeah. I feel like they busted it out really fast too, because I had only heard that it was coming to Amazon. I mean, it was sometime last year. So, I mean, to pump out
it's crazy
8 hours worth of content just assembling that cast alone. I mean, more than half the cast from The Walking Dead because Robert Kirkman created The Walking Dead.
Right. Yeah, he's got unlimited money. Like he could afford to fail. Between Amazon money and his money, they were good. Like this could have been a complete failure. It didn't matter.
Well, and I'm pretty sure Seth Rogen produces this.
Yes, him and his partner.
Live action movie as well. Like how they're going to turn this into a movie series, I have no idea. Because how many movies are you going to make?
Yeah, you guys covered that. It's actually a bonus question: is will it work as a live action? I don't want to say no at this point. If you handle something, we saw it with Kick-Ass. I mean, that's the closest comparison to making something this silly, I guess, work live action. But credit to the writers and the artists and everybody to make something. It's not a complicated book, like as far as looking, you know what I mean? But the story is so good. It's so well done. And they did the same thing with the show. J.K. Simmons is a huge part of it. Just
so perfect. He's so perfect.
I was nervous at first, only because like of his age but obviously that was before the big reveal. I think it made so much more sense after the reveal, really late into the season. Because at first I'm like, he might be a little out of this. When I seen that John Hamm was going to be in it, so I got to ask you this? I don't know what's going to happen in the future. How did they get John Hamm to be a throwaway character in the first episode? What was that to throw people off track?
I think probably because everybody on the internet wants John Hamm to play Omni Man in the live action movie. Because he does. I mean, if you put a mustache on John Hamm, it really does look just like him. Yeah.
So there's something to that. That was a weird thing. I'm like, okay, any minute now. I'm like, nope. He never comes back. It's just chilling, whatever. That was so wild, man. But overall, once again, go check out Josh's podcast of it. It's awesome. I'm not going to make him repeat it. I swear. So we're going to get into our Invincible 10 questions. Number one. Do we care, or do comic book fans care, that they obviously ripped off the Marvel and DC characters to create the Invincible characters?
I'd say no, because it's one of those things where like even Marvel and DC rip each other off. Like,
constantly.
There's only so many power. I mean, they could have done it worse. You know what I mean? They could have given Omni Man and Invincible even more powers to make them even more like Superman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They don't have laser eyes. I think they kind of like held back on some stuff like that to kind of like separate themselves, to be like, yeah, he's not Superman. He doesn't have, freeze breath and heat vision, and
they bleed.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. They bleed. Yeah, I thought about that too. I'm like, they're obviously this is patterned after that type of character, but then I thought to myself, well, at first I thought they were going to be making fun of them, because when this show first started, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a satire. This is the Naked Gun for comic books. I'm like, oh no. But what was awesome is what they did was they kept you didn't need the backstory. You could just kind of guess. Like, you met Omni Man, you're like, okay, he's a guy from outer space, got all these powers. You met his kids, you're like, oh, he's young. He's essentially a young Superman, growing up, like realizing he has these powers. Every character you meet, even I can't remember his name. He died pretty early on, but like the kind of pseudo Batman character, you're like, yeah, we get it. You got a bad attitude. You know what I mean? But I think that saved us a lot of time. We didn't have this whole buildup of having to learn these characters, these backstory. We didn't have to see Martha and Thomas get shot. Like, okay, we're up to speed here. Let's move this thing on.
Well, it's also one of those things, like, how much time are you going to put into it? Like,
right,
when you know you're about to kill all of them off,
right?
Why waste your time with a giant backstory?
Yeah. But I think it paid off too. That what Josh referred to, I assume everybody knows. If you don't know, Omni Man tricks the Guardians. Was it Guardians of the
Globe, which are basically the Avengers and the Justice League?
Yeah, so yeah. When he tricks him into it, he wipes him out. But I think it had more impact because you're like, oh, he just killed Martian Manhunter. He just killed Batman. He just killed Wonder Woman. Yeah. I think it gave it more impact by being, just full face. I don't want to say ripoffs, but Dollar General copies of the superheroes that we know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the show is like so many things all at the same time, because it is like it's an homage to like your stereotypical superheroes, but then it is like, not only is it an homage, but we're going to put it under the lens of absolute reality at the same time as being science fiction. We got aliens and we got superpowers and we got all this shit, but it is like if this stuff really existed, like if it was real, like it wouldn't be like the comics. It wouldn't be where everyone is this happy-go-lucky, lay your hand on the Bible and, American way and all this shit. Like, most superheroes would be fucking assholes. Because of the horrible shit that they have to put themselves through. Like,
well, that, and they would be like, oh, and what was cool about this show is they're always like, well, another threat's coming. I think there was one, I don't remember. I apologize, everybody. I don't remember every episode number, but the one where Omni Man goes to take on the ones who came through the portal, they aged quick.
Yeah, he goes through the portal to their planet and just fucking.
He goes through and he's destroying your planet. And Mark goes home and he's in a panic. Like, I don't know, Dad's gone, and his wife's like, he'll be back. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes, I think that was when, to me, that's when the show changed. Of, oh, okay, we're dealing with something different here. Like, she didn't freak out. She's like, he'll be home for dinner. Like, this happens all the time. He's saved the Earth from another dimension, several times. It's no big deal. And I was like, okay, now we're on to something here. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, it didn't faze me at all. I think if anything, I didn't even really, by the end of the series, let's put it that way, I didn't even associate them with their older counterparts in the Marvel and DC. I thought they were totally separate. Like Adam Eve, I think is a cool character. That they did. Even, I mean, all of them. I think they developed their own thing. They weren't called. I mean, is it Machine Head? Is that the villain?
Yeah, that guy was.
I love that. That was kick ass, man.
Yeah, there's so many there's so much going on in this show.
It's crazy. What they do so well is like you meet a character and 5 minutes later you go like, okay, I know his agenda. I know his backstory. I know his motivation. I know his origin story. And I'm like, I don't even know why. Like I have this imagination of Machine Head. I'm like, I don't know anything about that guy. They didn't have to hand feed, us guys, as especially like people like me and you that love these types of stories, obviously love comics. They didn't have to hand feed us. Like, oh no, you don't get it yet. We have to beat you over the head with it. We have to spend each episode developing a character, and then hopefully we get a season 2. These guys just went in.
Yeah, well, they also trust that, like, it is so impeccably well written, and there's so much trust placed in the audience to understand what's going on,
exactly,
and to understand things from context.
Yes,
which is a thing that a lot of movie companies in general, TV companies in general, and like comic book movie companies in general, they don't give a shit about subtlety or picking up from context clues or anything. It's so in your face.
Yes.
Get it. We have to make this work for every single target audience that we possibly can.
Yep.
And that's kind of the great thing about mature content for superhero stuff, is that they don't have to pander. They don't have to worry about that stuff because they know their target audience.
Yeah.
It's everybody above 18. Like
they get it. Yeah.
Like they don't have to be like, let's dumb this down for the 9-year-olds that are watching, because 9-year-olds shouldn't be watching this.
They're not trying to sell toys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll move on to question 2. I promised that we would try to streamline this. This is too much fun. I knew this would happen. I love it. Number 2, this is a great question, Josh. This is your question. Should the Guardians of the Globe have been able to beat Omni Man? And I think I know why you bring this up, because he would fight somebody individually and take some heat. How was he able to beat all of them at one time?
Yeah, well, especially like that part where the Martian Manhunter guy is wrapped up around him.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman, Thor lady is beating him in the head with the hammer. And the Immortal, who's basically like Superman as well, is punching him in the face. Like, he did get beat up. I mean, he gets beaten so much that he basically goes into a coma. But it's like, he did keep winning. Like, every time anything happened, like, I don't understand, like what is the limit of his strength? How strong is he? Like, because I would assume the Immortal, who can fly and has super strength as well, would also be durable. But I mean, he's chopping through him like he's made out of aluminum foil. Like, why is he so much stronger than him?
There was no consistency to it. And I've always said this about Spider-Man, as far as in the stories, I've always had a problem with what they did with Spider-Man, because, and you brought it up on your show today, like, wait a minute, this guy can stop a train, but then he can punch a human and not murder them. And they were inconsistent with these powers. And that's the book. That's intentional. Even with Mark, like, oh, Mark can, you can hit him and he can go through buildings and buildings and buildings and he's fine. But then, kind of the Luke Cage kind of cat can also hit him and inflict damage. Like, why does it fluctuate like it does? In my opinion, it feels like the Guardians should have been able to, somebody should have been able to survive. I mean, it's a great scene. That's one of the greatest scenes like ever, but it's not consistent. It's almost like him and Mark both, Omni Man and Invincible, both have this, when they get a little more angry, almost like the Hulk, that they get tougher, stronger. I'm not quite sure where they were going with that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, there are a lot of, I did mention on our show, and I feel like it is kind of like unsaid in this, but it's similar, is like there are a lot of like similarities to Dragon Ball Z, because like they just get stronger, or they just like, yeah, when they're angry, or like when they're damaged,
or when it's convenient.
Yeah, or when when the plot calls for it, they'll just summon forth this like power out of nowhere. And it's like, is that, and it is kind of like a Superman thing as well. It's like, is that just sheer willpower? Like,
right, yeah.
Most people now would just call it plot armor, but like, what is it actually from like a like physiological standpoint? Like, what's causing them to get stronger?
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, right. I need a little backstory. Like, say something like, "Oh, our adrenaline is different. Whatever. Make up something." And it was a great scene. I thought they drug it out as long as they could. And I thought there were some question marks, but it just
didn't really bother me because A, it's the first episode, so it kind of had to happen, and B, at least he didn't. It wasn't like he came out unscathed.
Yeah.
Like, look at Superman fighting the Justice League in Justice League. Like, he kicks the shit out of all of them, and he doesn't even get a scratch on them.
Right. But I guess here's the biggest question about the show. Why did he need to have Mark and go through all that when, if he could take out the Guardians, in less than 10 minutes, what was the need to go through all this other stuff on Earth? Who's left? Like, now, is that something maybe that's going to come up in the books, you think, to where there's more heroes?
Like, I think it is, because you look at what Omni Man does, he does exactly what he's told. Like, he was brainwashed by his people, basically, and raised to be the most loyal person to his planet that there possibly is. So I think part of his mission is, you will go to this planet. You will, like, gain trust. That's why he's a superhero. He is looked up towards. He is looked at as a protector of the planet. That way, when he reveals himself and the agenda and the fact that I'm actually here to bring your planet into our empire, people will trust him. But then he's also like, and this is my son. He's also a savior of humanity. Like, I think he was told, like, you will go there, you will create a half-breed. That way you can be like, he's one of you and he's okay with this. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, that makes sense. That's actually the best answer I've had yet. This is the only time that it's sort of made sense, because I'm like, I don't understand. Like, as soon as you got there, why didn't you just? I mean, we're humans. We're like, we don't stand up at all to you, but that actually makes a little bit of sense. So,
well, I think it is also like, this is a universe where there are superpowered people,
right?
So he's going in solo, where they used to go in as an entire army. So they don't know, like, they haven't scouted out he is the scout for the planet. So they don't know if there's someone there that's stronger than them. No, or if someone will show up that's stronger than them. So
that actually makes a lot of sense.
Make your own backup, basically.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So number 3, this one has bugged me since I just can't get past this one. So why would a Vitramite age like a human for 17 years and then live for thousands? I cannot, like, it doesn't make any sense how they're like, Mark aged as a normal human until he's 17 years old, but now he's going to live for thousands of years. Like, his dad just kept bringing that up. Like, you're going to live for thousands of years. I'm like, wait a minute. It was such an unnatural way to live. This one I just can't get past. I think this is just like, nope, this is how we had to do the story. So it made sense for him to be a teenager. Like, in theory, he should still be a baby.
Yeah, well, I think it's the fact that their powers don't kick in until they're mature, which, like, it's just kind of one of those things, like, I did not expect him to not have powers at all. Like, I expected him to have powers from birth. So when I started the show and he got punched in the face by the bully, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, his dad's Superman. Like, what is this shit? But yeah, I guess, like, that's the whole point, is to, like, mature them to, like, peak physical condition, and then their powers kick in, and then
once their powers kick in, then that delays it, I guess. But that bothered me the whole time.
Like, how old is Omni Man? Like, he has gray hair.
Right.
Like, how fucking old is he?
Yeah, he's already thousands of years old. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I just thought it would be weird on Vitram, like, everybody's born and then they're like, oh, you know, they'll grow up here in the next 5 minutes, and then just kind of plateau. It was a weird thing to me. That one just kind of stuck in, you know, just kept sticking in the back of my head. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, but not that it has to.
Yeah, I think it's because they've like bred themselves to be so pure.
Yeah,
that it is like, because that also happens in Dragon Ball Z.
but,
they age until they're 18, and then they don't age again until they're in their 80s.
Well,
so they stay at like peak physical condition for their entire life.
And also, I mean, it happens. You know, it's not unprecedented. I mean, on Earth, there's a lot of animals that have young that can walk like day 2. I think elephants come out like literally are born walking.
Yeah, deer like pop out and start walking.
Yeah,
like
that's true. That's true. And then, you know, so I look at it that way. That makes.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that. But I want to know more about that. Like what is causing their powers? Like, why does it not trigger until they're 18? Like, it would make a little more sense if it was like X-Men style, where it triggered at like puberty or something like that.
Right.
Not just, you know, randomly when you're taking the trash out at work.
Yeah, that was wild. See, now in the books, if you read it, like it happens really quick. Like,
yeah,
it's in equivalence to the TV show. What would have happened like 5 minutes in? So there's really not much. There's not much, and he's totally aware of it when it happens. It's literally, they really did a better job with that in the TV show, as to where they kind of drew it out and put some drama on it. In the book, it's like, throws the trash. Okay, we're all good now. Like, so it actually did a better job with it. So this is one of my favorites, because I love this character so much. Is the Immortal actually the best version of Wolverine that we're ever gonna get? The way the guy, he's like Superman, Wolverine, but I mean even the blue and yellow colors that he wore, he's immortal. All they did was growl and yell at people. He was angry. I know they obviously couldn't give him claws. There's no way that they're going to get away with that. But even his hair, everything. I love the character, and I know we didn't get much of him until he came back from the dead, which was pretty fucking wild. But I don't know. To me, I think that's the best version of Wolverine that we've had yet.
Yeah, he is pretty.
He's awesome.
I do want more of his backstory, because we see those glimpses when he's being brought back to life, where like he saw like an energy ball or something, and then but he was like, he wasn't a caveman, but he was like, it was a long time ago, and now he's like, every time he dies, he just eventually comes back to life. Is that why he's called Immortal, I assume? Oh
yeah, it's a good point. And I just liked his even the voice actor. I forget who it was. I'm sure it was a Oscar winner, but just his yell and his growl and how angry, like the sound was real. First of all, the sound was excellent on this show. They went all out with the sound. Like, it sounds, I listened to the first 2, as I said, with earbuds in, and it just sounded amazing, and which really helps with everything they were trying to do. And he was, I don't know, I just love that guy. And yet, one karate chop and it's just over. I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, why? It's like, why would he do that? Like, why would, if Omni Man is that strong, why would he even take one punch from that guy?
That's what I'm saying about it never made sense.
Like, if you're that strong in comparison, you have to be fast as well. Like, and have better reflexes. So like, if he came at you, like, he should have blocked one punch and cut him in half with a hand. Like, why is he getting punched in the face over and over again? And then there's finally like, I've had enough of this. You in half.
One karate chop. Yeah, no, there was some that was, I mean, honestly, like, if you want to nitpick, that is a flaw in the shows. None of that ever makes any sense. Like, you have these long drawn out fights, and then it's, the snap of the fingers and it's over. But it is weird. I don't know. I just I thought of all the ripped off characters, I think that was really it was really one of my favorites. I'm here for the Immortal show is what I'm saying, Amazon. I mean, Bezos, you got plenty. You got plenty to throw away on an Immortal, run. Even if it's just for me and Josh, like, you're good. Man. Okay, I like this one. This is from Josh. Does the inclusion of the teen team, which is so hard to say, every time they said it bothered me in the show. And I know that's on purpose, but the teen team, does the inclusion of the teen team take away from the main story? It didn't help. I'll assume that it's something that pays off maybe 2 seasons down the road. But as far as this season, it was. It wasn't useless, but it kind of like, let's get back to this story, because it really didn't include Mark.
No. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's where it goes, then it's like that'll be cool. Like if he eventually becomes the leader of the Guardians of the Globe, and they clearly like tease a relationship between Mark and Adam Eve.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to like see where it goes. And then they're all like, it was all cool shit. Like none of it was bad, but I mean, there are so many characters in this show.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, if you did take a lot of them out, you could tell the main story a lot faster.
Right. Yeah. And there were some times, to be honest with you, and it's completely different in the book, but the romance between Amber and Mark, like some of that really got a little drug out to me. I'm like, okay, let's move this along. And, I love Zazie Beetz, but it never felt like she was in the same show as everybody else. There was something disconnected, almost like she just recorded everything by herself in front of her laptop and sent it in. There was something disconnected about her character, and she's great. I have no doubt. I don't think it was her fault, but there was something weird about that I never really cared. And if Omni Man would have tore her in half, I'd have been like, okay, we can move on now. I never got
about Jason Mantzoukas' character is he didn't change. I think that's what the problem is with both of them, is that neither one of them changed their voice at all.
So there you go.
They just sound like adults, and they're supposed to be teenagers. And it's like, Jason Mantzoukas, you're like 45 years old. Like, you can't tell me, you can't come on here and act like you're 17.
That's a good point.
And the same with her, like you're supposed to be in high school, but you just sound like your character from Joker, like, or Deadpool. Like you sound exactly the same as everything else I've ever heard you in. Like at least like Stephen Yu is like older than me, probably. He sounds like a fucking teenager in this show.
No, that's a good point. Mantzoukas he was just at Mantzoukas at 10 the entire show.
I found it kind of obnoxious. Like I never
kind of distracting, and maybe it's
never got used to it. And I like Jason Mantzoukas, but it was like
it never did fit.
Like, yes, I get it. You can swear, all right, like, but
yeah,
you're beating it to death a little bit here.
Yeah,
like,
you can scream, you can over exaggerate again and again and again. Yeah, that was probably my least liked character.
Yeah.
Amber was just kind of and it makes me sad because I love her so much as an actress, and it was just like it really felt like it was where she recorded and what she was told to do. It was just so weird. I'm sure in a live action she would have blew it away. You know what I mean? She's stunning. She's a great actress. Just something didn't match up there. As to where I thought Adam Eve did a really good job. I thought she did exactly what you said. I felt like her character matched. Oh my God. How about her? Is it her dad, or actual dad, or stepdad?
Yeah, what a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, that's the dude. I don't know if you ever watched the show he was in. Oh God damn it. What is it? It's on Netflix. The Ranch. He played like a dad on the ranch. He played that same character, just an asshole dad on the ranch. So all I know him from. He's a John Deere salesman that gave Ashton Kutcher a hard time. But I thought he did great. I thought that right there, that family did. Like I felt it. Like that made sense to me.
I really liked Adam Eve as a character, and it was one of those things. Like I didn't dislike Amber. The only real part that I didn't like was like they went back and forth a little too much on. Yeah. You're irresponsible. You never show up. And it's like, yeah, we get it. And then when he was like, I'm a fucking superhero. And she was like, yeah, I know. I don't care. And it's like, give him a fucking break. Like, what do you want him to do? Like, he was saving the goddamn planet.
I mean, he's a junior in high school, for God's sake. When I was a junior in high school, like I was lucky if I remembered to put my freaking socks on in the morning. She's like, oh, you weren't here. Like, that was all a little, that whole Spider-Man relationship that they had going on there. I thought they probably could have changed that a little. That was weird. I liked his best friend a lot. I can't remember his name now. that he got way more run in the TV show than he did in the comic, which once again, the comic is really good. But I like that character a lot. I thought that actor's really good. I apologize, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, that episode where they went to college was really good.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. I liked about everybody in there. That was one of my favorite episodes, actually. I thought that they pulled that off. They pulled that off really well. It's just, yeah. So Adam Eve, and another thing that I love that they did with that character is, of course, in the book, it was wrote almost 20 years ago. She didn't wear shorts, and she wore the classic superhero bikini. And I love that they changed it to just shorts. I really thought that was like a really nice touch, she didn't need to be wearing a G-string to be a female superhero.
Yeah.
I really liked that they changed that, and I appreciated that in the show. That, I thought that was, I just thought that was super cool. Like,
yeah, I really like her character altogether. Like she's such a strong character.
Yes.
Not even just like physically strong. Like she's written to be such a powerful female character, and like with her parents, like her dad's like, I don't want you, like, fuck your superpowers, just be a normal person. She's like, I have responsibilities. Like, like I understand my role here. I understand like the gifts that I have. Like she's very smart, and she's like, and I like the portrayal of her. And the whole time I'm just like, why doesn't Mark want to be with this girl? Like she would understand him. Like she has superpower. Like she fucking gets it.
Yeah, the books are a little different. So they, like I said, they strayed from that a little. Amber's different in the books. That whole dynamic's a little different. Not that it's worse or, not that it's better or worse. Yeah. It's just totally different. But yeah, I'm sure that they're going to go that direction. I like her a lot. I thought that scene where they went to Mount Rushmore and fought the dude, that dude was pretty cool. That was a good villain.
Yeah.
I said I want to talk about villains. That was a really cool villain, like with the earthquake gloves and stuff like that. That was just neat. And he was a mix between the Vulture and fucking, I don't even know who else they came up with, but I don't know. I just thought that guy was a neat, like, old dude villain.
And then he came back at the very end with like lava monsters or something.
Actually, the villains were great. Let's take a minute to talk about was it the Marauders? Is that what they called the clones?
Yeah, those guys are really cool.
Those dudes were badass, man. It's like,
it was so weird that they have like a B storyline throughout the entire season. Like they always cut back to them.
I thought it was so cool. They didn't get as much play in the book either, but I loved what they did with them, how they interacted with each other as one of them being the clone. And then they explained it. They're like, no, the reason we're so perfect is so we don't know. Like neither one of us know who was here or who wasn't here. Those guys were kind of like, just your random henchmen or whatever. And then, but yet they were these super scientists. And then they, in a moment of, in a touching moment, they admitted, well, we don't want to know who's the clone. I was like, what is going on here? Like the one killed the other dude. Like, it was so great. But then you found yourself not knowing who. I mean, as far as developing a couple characters that, like you say, had a B storyline the whole time. I loved those guys. I thought they were fucking awesome.
Yeah, that first episode where they invade the White House, the whole time I was just expecting something awful to happen to that security guard. And then they showed up. I was like, well, this guy's about to turn into goo or something.
I thought that the bad guys, not necessarily the villains, the bad guys were just awesome in this show. I thought they got good voice actors like we talked about. They had just these really cool little storylines. The whole robot storyline, like that dude was fucking wild, man. But I liked it. Who could you get better to play the robot than Spock? New Spock.
Yeah. I didn't see that fucking shriveled baby man thing coming at all.
What was that about?
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
And then he's sort of a good guy. He's sort of and then how creepy is it? He made the young version. Like it all made so much sense, and it was that was so cool and so creepy. First of all, I want to. Beast Girl is one of the best imagined characters that I can ever remember. The basically the Hulk of the group, but she gets a little bit younger every time she transforms. So there's a bit of punishment, because that's always the thing with the Hulk. You're like, you be the Hulk, you're fine. Like they gave her a weakness. So she goes back. So now she's a 24-year-old trapped in a 13-year-old girl's body.
Yeah.
And everything that comes along with that, which gets really, it's a little weird, but I thought her character, I think that's just brilliant. I love that character.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept. I would like to see more from her in the future, because like we don't get a lot of action with her in it.
No.
And when we do, she gets the shit kicked out of her, and I was like, I was really hoping to see like a Hulk beatdown.
So I like, okay, this is great. This show is filled with so much. It was only 8 episodes long, but my God, everyone was like its individual movie. When we'll call him I can't remember his name, but essentially the Luke Cage guy, which is another, go ahead and say it. You can say Mahershala Ali, right?
Yeah.
You can say it. So
No,
fluent.
I can't say it. Yeah, and you fucking know I can't say it.
You were so nervous about saying it. You're like, I don't want to say it. I won't say it. But, I'm sorry. I was in his Spider-Verse episode. Everybody go check out that too on Foreigners by Nerds. But anyway, that great character. I fell for it, dude. I was in.
Like, I was pissed when he turned out to be a bad guy. I was like, no.
I bought and sold that character. And at the end, when he's like, all right, I'm like, motherfucker. Like, what was with the weird cat, dude?
Yeah, Battle Beast is a bad motherfucker.
Hey, this goes to your point, man. Like, that dude was every bit of Omni Man. Like, he destroyed the new Guardians and destroyed them. Like, it wasn't, he said it wasn't even worth his time. And he goes back to wherever he's from. Like, he could have gave Omni Man a run for his money.
Yeah. Like, I do know that there is a fight coming that has Battle Beast in it. That it does. He is.
That's who it is, Battle Beast?
His name's Battle.
It was kick ass, man.
And they basically are like, yeah, he is like the closest thing to like a Ultraman.
He is that dude. So to go to your point, like, you're right. That's why you got to be nervous about these planets, because fucking Battle Beast might show up and end you. Like, he literally got tired of beating Mark to a pulp and just quit because it wasn't worth his time.
Yeah, because all he wants to do is have a good fight. So if it's not challenging, he doesn't give it.
That was great. I loved how they did Machine Head with the T-Pain voice modulator. I thought that was a great touch. I like that actor too. I don't know all these actors' names.
So many I can't remember.
But he's a really good actor. He was in a show I watched on USA for a long time. He did a really good job. But I thought that was one of my favorite episodes. Also, I loved them all, but that was probably my top 3.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
Yeah, Mark. Well, because here's what's funny. Your kids are younger than mine. My son's 24 now. And his whole life, he's insisted on learning things the hard way. And that's essentially what Mark does. It's like, no, Dad, I got this. And his dad's like, no, I don't think you ought to do it. And he's like, no, I got this. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to let Battle Beast beat you to within an inch of your life. And Mark's like, no, it's a good point, Dad. Like,
yeah, I'm super interested to see, like, how do their powers work? Like, is that why, like, clearly he knew Mark wasn't going to die from that, even though he got fucking split in half, basically. Yeah. Like, so is it like, because Mark gets the shit kicked out of him a lot. Is it one of those things like in Dragon Ball Z, not to keep bringing it up, but every time a Saiyan gets beaten close to death, when they heal, they're so much stronger than they were. Like, that's why they're a warrior race. Is because every time, as long as they don't die, they'll come back even stronger. And like, is that happening to Mark? Is that what it is? Because they are basically a warrior race. Like, is every time he heals, is he getting stronger? The only reason I would say no is because he doesn't say anything about it. And if anything, like, I felt like in that college episode when he was having trouble with the robot monsters.
Yeah, what was that about?
I'm like, is it because he was just so injured and he's still healing up? Like, so he's not at 100%?
That's right, because he had been severely injured. Yeah, he got hit by a bus. By the way, I brought up the IMDb so I can quit being rude to all these actors. This series is an 8.8 on IMDb. To put that in perspective, like, A Few Good Men's like 8.5. I just want everybody know how good this series is. But I wanted to bring it up so I could quit insulting all these wonderful actors that took their time to do the show. But let's see what our next question is here. Okay, this was a funny one. This is an easy one. Where does Omni Man rank among sitcom dads? Because the whole time I could think is like, he's the worst sitcom dad ever, or is he?
Yeah, the beating he gives Mark in the end of the last episode, and the whole train incident.
But hey, Uncle Phil wanted to snatch Will up from time to time. I'm not supporting that. I'm just saying from time to time, Uncle Phil had urges. He threatened Will to say yeah, you can't get past that. That at the end, that's some real shit. Like that was, I tell you what, a scene that got me in all seriousness was when, like I say, I've already raised a son, and we've had nothing physical, but I mean, we've had serious conversations, disputes. But when Omni Man knocks his teeth out, I'm like, what? Like that was one of the best shots of the show as far as to like, okay, this got really, really real, really, really fucking quick. Like that was like, and I was like, oh, okay, we're dealing with something different here. That shook me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean that whole episode is just nonstop.
Oh my god!
From the second it starts.
Credit to the actors for really selling that episode, because that's tough. You know what I mean? Like I was like, man, me and my kid have been in, we've had some conversations, but I can't, not to get too serious, but I was like, I can't imagine hitting my kid in the face. Like as angry as I've been. And then, I'm saying, I understand that happens, and it's a tragic thing. And that I'm sure that comic speaks to that, but that's when I was like, oh, okay, that's a little different. You know what I mean? Then earlier in the show, like earlier in the show when he did the thing, you remember maybe it was episode 2 and he hits him in the chest or whatever. And just to show him like, you're not strong yet. That's kind of a dad thing to do. And that's always borderline of like, is that right? Or is it wrong? They kind of went that way. And then by the end, it was like, oh, this is some part of it. He was just an abusive little league baseball dad. You know what I mean? If I'm, for being honest, like I think that there's probably a lot of people that saw it that way. And I was like, man, that was deep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all credit to the writing, because I love the way Omni Man is written, because you see him have these like constant, like he's so programmed.
Yeah.
And he's so programmed to the point where he looks normal. He seems to act normal-ish enough. But then he has these moments where he completely lacks any empathy or humanity.
Yeah.
And he even like checks himself to be like, oh yeah. And at first you think it's like some of it's like, oh, he's doing it for real. Like he just kind of forgot, or he's getting lost in Mark's training or something. And then at other points you're like, is his remembering it like remembering the fact that he's supposed to be faking it? Like, oh, I'm supposed to put on this like facade of this kind of character because to fit in around here. But then you get that amazing like flashback sequence when he is beating Mark, and then he has the flashback to Mark's little league game, and he's like, his like wife explains humanity to him and like what being a father is all about, and I was like, holy shit, this is deep.
Shout out to Sandra Oh, by the way. She killed that role. She was her character is so pivotal in this, going between the superpowers and the human, and that scene was really cool. There was that's what I said. The show was like every week it did not have the same path the whole show. When the show started, it wasn't really about father son or whatever. And it sounds rude to say that, but this is very specific to father son relationships. I never had a daughter, but I don't think it's quite the same. I think it kind of just leans in towards, father son, a lot of it, as far as like the old school, like, I'm 45 years old, 46 years old almost. And, raised kind of the whole toughen up and, do this and do that kind of thing. And it was old school versus new school situation as far as how to raise a a man. And then at the end, Mark kind of prevails, so to speak, is like, no, this isn't, I'm not good with this. I'm not backing down. It was, I thought it was really cool from that perspective.
Well, it is weird too that he's like, oh, like I see my mistake. I shouldn't have raised you as a human. But seeing like how for the cause Omni Man is, it is shocking that he did raise Mark as a human.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't he just, even in secret, be like, or just like lie to him so much to be like Viltrum is everything. Viltrum's the best. Like,
yeah. Why don't
I wait to take you there someday? Like, get him so like in love with it that when he reveals this stuff, you do it like gently and just kind of coax him into it. Not, hey, everything I told you is a lie, and now you're gonna do this, or I'm gonna beat you to death.
Yeah. No, when he says, what's 17 years? I'll just do it again. I was like, holy shit, man!
Punch to the heart.
Yeah, I get.
I really like. I love my dad, but we have issues.
Oh yeah.
And I have children. Like, so, like as a father and as a son, I'm like watching this whole thing, and I'm like, man, this is fucking emotional.
No, it was, and it was intended to be. Obviously, it wasn't an accident that they wrote it this way. I mean, they, if you watch like, I know maybe the closest is maybe I know Hulk, Bruce Banner and his dad have some things, but they never lean into it like this kind of, situation. This is, once again, I haven't read forward in the books, but this is obviously like, that's the intention, is this is, and then I think everybody assumed that it was going to come down to just father versus son for the earth, but it really wasn't. I mean, Omni Man clearly, quote unquote, won, but then we don't really know what happened. He had some sort of thought and took off. That's what we know. We don't know, what he's thinking or what's next or anything or what changed his mind. We don't know if and that's on purpose how they left it. But yeah, that was crazy. And I think one of the worst parts too, or toughest parts of the last episode, was that Mark's mom heard and saw everything. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, when he called his mom a pet, and he was like, I love your mom, but like
one of the worst
pet, I was like, what the fuck?
That's one of that's one of the worst things I've ever seen in a show. Like, holy shit,
Well, and then you have his son sitting there, like basically begging him and being like, no, I know this is bullshit. Like, I've seen it. Like, you can't fucking tell me I'm wrong. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I've seen. Like, this has been my entire life. And he's just like, this has not been my entire life. This is nothing to my life.
Yeah, that was now. So do you think that worse actors don't pull it off? Because I tend to think that, if you don't have the right actors for that, it does. I don't think the impact is there. Especially, let's just be honest. If J.K. Simmons doesn't, he really sold out on that.
Yeah,
I don't think that. I don't think John Hamm can pull that off. He's a great actor, but I don't think that he has that inflection.
Yeah, I like John Hamm and all, but yeah, I don't think he has the emotional range for something.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, like I don't. I am not like, oh yeah, I want to see John Hamm do this. Like,
right, just because he looks the part, I think that might be a mistake. Because
I feel like other people could look the part if you
and
mustache, give that haircut. Like, I don't know who I would want, but
yeah, and we'll bring it up later. But that's it's kind of one of your points. So I think honestly, he's one of the worst sitcom dads ever. Like, it started off fine, but he's not even Archie Bunker level. He's a real dick. I mean, he really does become like, you don't see both sides of it by the end of it. This isn't a Thanos situation to where you're like, oh, I get where he's coming from. By the time it's over, you're like, you're totally wrong. Like, you're like I don't know what you Vitrovites are up to, but you're fucking 100% wrong. There is no two sides to this story. You need to go away.
Yeah, I mean, there kind of is with the point of like, if Earth does go along with it, like, it isn't like they're going to be destroyed or enslaved or anything. But it is the point of, if they don't go along with it, they will be completely exterminated.
No, that was rough when he was trying to prove it to him, like, the subway scene,
that That pilot.
Oh my God.
There's that pilot. It just fucking explodes his head.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. You're like,
when he landed behind him, it was just like, oh no.
Well, that's what, when I watched that, I text you and I'm like, does he just look at him as we look at bugs or even mice? Like, you got a mice problem in your house, we just kill them. Like, we don't really go in depth of like, oh, what kind of family do they have? What are we breaking up here? It's like, put out the trap and be done with it. That's how he looks. That's how Omni Man looks at humans. It's hard for us as humans, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it's kind of, he just sees them as like uncivilized, even though like we see ourselves as like the most civilized people in history. Like, to an advanced race like that, like we are cavemen basically.
Yeah, exactly. There was definitely something. I mean, that's intentional, by the way. Number 7, since we're talking about how great the actors are, who had the better cast? You just did a Spider-Verse episode, which is awesome. Spider-Verse or Invincible? Who had the better voice acting cast?
I think Invincible, just because there is so many more people.
By numbers?
Just by sheer numbers, it overpowers it. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great heavy hitters in Spider-Verse, but
oh my God, everybody in Spider-Verse is
Invincible has like everyone in Hollywood right now.
I don't know. I don't know how old this show is. Like, did COVID help? Or they're like, hey, who's not doing anything this weekend? Do you want to make the greatest show ever? And they're like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I think COVID probably did help, because it is one of the things that you can do this from anywhere, really. I mean, you can either just drive to a studio near your house and they can send the file, or you could have a studio already in your fucking house. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard, and it takes such little time, and these people get paid so much.
Speaking of which, can we talk about how good, I don't know if you're a fan of his, can we talk about how good Walton Goggins was?
Oh yeah.
As Cecil.
Yeah. Cecil's amazing, yeah.
I mean, amazing. He plays that so subtle. He nails every scene he's in. Now, that's a guy that you really thought was there with the other actors. Like, it really felt when you saw him talking to, he spent a lot of time with Debbie, Mark's mom, and you're like, oh, no, it feels like they're in the same room. Like, it feels like they're having this conversation. I thought he did a fantastic job as an experienced, veteran character actor, people want to call him. Oh my God. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he had great character development too, because at the beginning I'm like, yes, man, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah, this guy's a typical. Yep. Yeah, he's
at the end. I'm like, oh man, he's such a great guy.
Oh, yeah, at first you're like, oh, it's Nick Fury. Okay, it's Nick Fury. He's going to be an asshole with an agenda. And by the end, you're like, no, this guy's. Another great character I love was the Tailor. I thought that was
Mark Hamill. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, come on. We got Mark Hamill is animated. I thought that guy was great. I just like how they did it and how he's like, give me some ideas on your suit, which is a takeoff from a Marvel character. I can't quite remember his name. I know he wound up having, I think it's Stiltman. Honestly, I think was a guy, right? But still, I love that character. And those are so I don't even know when Omni Man and the Tailor having the beer on the roof.
It's so tense.
It's so tense.
It's so fucking tense. I was like,
it's animated, and I'm nervous. I'm like, what? I've just seen 50 people get torn in half today on this show, and I'm so nervous that this guy's drinking his beer. It's animated. He's drinking his beer, but I can tell he's nervous.
And he's he's like pissing himself.
Yeah, how's that even possible? It's really, they just kept doing that. Like, there's so many scenes like that, just scene after scene after scene. It's just, oh my God, it's freaking amazing. Mahershala Ali, John Hamm, Seth Rogen is not a throwaway, but he's a character. Jeezy Pete's like Mark Hamill we talked about. Mantzoukas, no matter what we think, he's a solid actor. He gave it 100. There's no doubt about that. He gave it 100, but I think this is a better cast than Spider-Verse, even though Spider-Verse may be at the top, might have been, slightly better. There's no loser. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, pretty much
in that situation. So I love this one. Let's get into this guy. Who would you watch a Damien Darkblood spinoff? The answer is yes.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Easy. Another great actor. Another great
Clancy Brown, fucking incredible.
Oh my god, classic. He's a classic voice actor and regular actor, so to speak. That character was great because here's what was great about it. As soon as you meet him, you know his backstory. Like everybody's like, oh, this guy's obviously been to hell and back, and he's fighting his way out, but now he's on the side of justice. Even the way he talks is great.
It was almost like Yoda-esque.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, he's so great. And he figures it out.
Yeah, he's the only one that knows exactly what's going on at all.
He's like, yeah, he's not down for, this could be a guy that comes back to screw things up for Omni Man in the future. We don't know. He was like, no, this is all bullshit. I know exactly what happened. And for some reason, then Cecil makes a mistake, sends him back to hell. Looking back, he probably should have let it go. And here's what's crazy about this. What was the end game? If once he proves that Omni Man did it, what exactly was he gonna do? Was there an Omni Man jail? Like what was it?
I don't know, because they did it. They have that weird altercation, and Damien Darkblood is definitely not scared of Omni Man.
Not at all.
So it's like, what the fuck is he capable of? Like I gotta know, because I mean he's just like this detective, but he is just like Constantine and Hellboy smushed together.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, he didn't even sweat it. He's like, nah.
He was like, he was basically like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, I'm a fucking demon.
How great was it what they added when they went in a room, the room would be cold, like they could see. That was dope as shit.
That was awesome. Yeah,
I was like, that is so freaking cool to do for a character. Like, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
I would have, if they didn't do it, I wouldn't have noticed, but I did notice, and it was awesome.
I love that scene where Omni Man like confronts him. He shows up at his office.
Oh, it's great.
Just like super tense, but neither one of them is backing down. And then Omni Man's just like, "Go fuck yourself," and leaves.
and think about it. Why wouldn't Omni Man just kill him?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there's Dark Blood does something. Yep. Because Omni Man would have just like, well, I'll just tear you in half and we'll just be done with this. Or like, for that matter, why was Omni Man? Why did he hide anything? Why would he hide his uniform? Like, what did he give a shit? Like, so there's obviously something bigger than him. Like, because he was scared of getting caught.
Yeah, I think it has to be part of its mission where like he has to like gain the public's trust.
Yeah.
So if he is then turned out to be a villain, and then they're not going to go along with what he says.
Yeah, there's something bigger out there, obviously, or he would have. I don't know, just which is good. I'm here for it. They've already said that they're going to make seasons 2 and 3. I'm in. Like,
and it'll definitely get picked up for more seasons.
Yeah,
but yeah, I want a Damien Darkblood detective noir show where he's
my god, and he can be just him. He can be the only super being in the show. I'm watching. You know what? They got what, 30 CSIs on now. I'll take Damien. I'll just take the Damien Darkblood version. Like, it's just him.
Well, this is an Image comic, so it's like, give me one where like Damien Darkblood and Savage Dragon are like buddy cops.
Oh, shit, I'm in.
I'll take that shit.
And I would say right now that they're making as many of these shows as they can. I don't think Invincible is going to be the only series that comes out like this. Speaking of series, number 9, what is it that makes people love this series? And I know we've talked about so many great things, but I mean, is there one thing that you see that you're like, this is why people love it? I think I know where you'll go with it, but I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going down to just one, it's definitely the writing.
Yeah.
It is so well written. It is so compelling. Like, in every single aspect, even like the least interesting stories that are in it are still like, oh, I got to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are so many B and C and D list characters in this, but
8 episodes
about all of them.
In 8 episodes, and I'll piggyback on that. It's the writing, because they treat us. You said it earlier. They give the fans some credit. Like, let them figure it out. We do not have to beat them over the head with the stuff and the details. We don't have to spend 4 episodes given the Omni Man, origin story. Like, give them credit for being intelligent. They'll figure out, like we love Damien Darkblood. We know nothing about him.
Yeah.
We love him. We don't have to. I didn't need 10 minutes of you telling me, obviously he, whatever, got falsely accused and sent to hell, and then to get out of hell, no, I don't need that. Like, I know that. They treat us like adults, with the action, with the blood, with the swearing, but without the sexuality, which I thought was pretty cool since we're dealing with, young people. They could have been, worse. That's my thing. I think they let adults just enjoy it.
Yeah. It's perfectly written for its demographic, and it's not.
There you go.
Nothing is taken away from it because it's animated, which I feel like happens a lot. Like, oh, it's cartoon, so we got to make it for kids, and it's like, nah, not all cartoons are for kids.
Right.
Like, I see brutal anime in like the kids section at Target all the time, and I'm like, you have no fucking idea what this is. You're just putting it there because it's a cartoon.
So here's a question 9A. Could this, since you touched on anime, could this possibly be the kind of quote unquote American version of anime going forward?
Yeah, because anime is, a lot of anime is extremely
very similar.
I would say this is even more brutal. Like, you don't see a lot of like intestines and shit in anime.
Brutal, dramatic storylines. Just consequences. A lot of family drama. A lot of turmoil. I mean, it really checks all the boxes.
Yeah, it's like anime with Western storytelling, which is good because like anime, as much as I love it, like they do shy away from a lot of stuff. Like they will always like tease love stories, but they'll never pay them off or anything like that. Like, and in this, you're actually getting actual relationships and relationship drama and stuff like that. In anime, it's always like the girl's in love with the guy, but she never tells him. She just fawns over him from a distance and shit like that. And it's like in this, they're like, no, we're dating, and then we're breaking up, and then we're making out, and all this.
Yeah.
Regular, like, this could just be live action. Like, it is so well written and so well performed that it's basically live action. It just happens to be a fucking cartoon.
And we've saw this work. I mean, for 25 years, Fox has had, animated, adult shows on primetime television. I mean, dozens of them over 25 years that have worked. I mean, adults will watch this as their entertainment, and the animation will be, it won't matter.
Yeah, so, all the like stigmas are like finally starting to fall.
Yeah.
Which is what gives rise to cool ass shit like this.
Exactly.
No one's afraid to like the stuff that is fucking awesome.
Yep. Well, and here's what I really like about animation is because you can team up. You don't have to have the perfect actor. You can have J.K. Simmons. Obviously, he can't look like Omni Man does. So it's hard to, and then if you get an actor that looks like we talked about John Hamm, he might not have the same inflection as J.K. Simmons. Well, now when you can combine the two, so now you get these perfect characters. You don't have limitations on, this guy's not tall enough. This guy's not, whatever. This guy's too old. This guy's too young. This woman's, doesn't fit the part. So now you find the perfect actors. You've already got the characters written, like, or drawn, what they look like. So It doesn't matter, which I think is super cool, but it really adds to it.
Yeah, it is. It is so, it's just like perfectly done. Like 8.5 is not high enough for me. Like this is a fucking 10 for me.
No, it's great. Well, let me see what the episodes were here. I had them out here a second ago. It was crazy, the ratings on these episodes on IMDb. Oh, they were all like, the overall is 8.8. Let's see here. Episode guide. Here we go. And I know IMDb isn't everything, obviously, but this is how much people liked it. You're talking 9.1, then 8.6, 8.4, 8.0, 9.3. I mean, that is 9.6.
It's like, who's rating stuff like that? Who's like, I don't know. It's missing 0.3.
Yeah, right. They're like, I almost gave it a 10, but Amber's hair was screwed up, which actually, I mean, honestly, probably the most flawed character is Amber. There was times that even the animated version didn't look like she was in the same scene. Zazie had some issues, so to nitpick, probably wasn't my favorite character, but I adore her. I don't care whatever she does, I'm in. Her being a Domino in Deadpool 2 is everything.
Yeah, she is amazing in that.
Oh my god, we're good for life. We're good. And if you ever watch the show Atlanta, she's perfect in it. So we're good. I'm gonna let it slide.
We'll do something real quick here that I do on my show.
Okay, let's do it.
Which is the best of the bad, where we read 1-star reviews of great things.
Oh, thank you for doing that, man. Yeah, let's do it. You go ahead.
Because how the fuck could anybody give this a 1-star review? This one is entitled Pointless. It says the show is just another sad attempt to get viewers by shocking them with a pointless violence. It just shows a lack of creativity or originality.
Oh my god.
How the fuck is that all you saw in this show?
You apparently watched it on mute while you were on your phone, and you've never watched anything but I don't know, the Storks. I don't even know, or you're incredibly jaded and you only watch like murder porn. One of those two things. I have no idea where you're coming from with that.
We'll do this one too, just because it's short.
Oh no, please do. It's awesome.
This one is called Unwatchable. I tried to watch this show, but was quickly deterred by the Saudi visual style, awful voice acting, and horrendous dialogue. It really seems like nobody involved with this project was even trying. Like, you couldn't be more wrong with every single thing that you said.
Was it signed Bizarro? Was it signed Sincerely Bizarro? Oh my god!
By Jay Chapany. That was from April 19th of 2021. 19 out of 109 people found it helpful.
Why would you find that helpful? Well, yeah, I guess we found it helpful.
It's so weird. Well, let's do the one last one. This is called Absolutely Trash. Warning, spoiler alert. I'm sorry, the story was a basic son growing up to be like his dad, and it was so boring. However, it took a dark turn that got so gruesome, my partner and I had to leave the room. Why don't you just shut the fucking TV?
Because, well, yeah. Who's maybe? I guess if maybe they were in a room and somebody invited them over as a watch party.
Said we can handle blood, but even it's super gratuitous and unnecessary. It's just awful, even for an animated show. Fucking people.
But how could you if you get far enough into the show to start seeing blood, like you've committed? You know what I mean? Like it's early on. Like you stuck with it if you're complaining about the blood.
Yeah, I mean the end scene of the first episode is not for the faint of heart, but I mean,
no. Which I'm one of the best scenes in comic book history. Comic book live act or whatever we want to call it. Just great because nobody sees it coming.
Splatters that Batman on the ground,
dude. Nobody sees it coming. You know what? Here's a good touch that I forgot about when they touch on. So I guess this was kind of the Flash character. In Guardians that we really don't get to know, but they show that little kind of flashback with him and his girlfriend. So they give you like 30 seconds to get to know this guy before we smash his head in. Like, brilliant. Because I really cared when it happened. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh man. Like, wait a minute.
See his head slowly squeezed.
I've known this guy for 13 seconds and now like I feel so bad. I mean, that's what I said. It's efficient. It's a really efficient storytelling. Is what's awesome about it. They did not waste any time. Even better than I love The Boys, but I thought this show even squeezed. I thought this show squeezed almost twice as much.
Yeah, this is better than The Boys.
It is. It's better than The Boys, and The Boys is really good.
Yeah.
But this gets so much out of the way. It's just
I think this is the best. It's the best superhero show that I've ever seen.
I think it is.
I really like WandaVision. I really like Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I like The Boys. But I mean, it's better than all of those, and all of those are better than all of the CW stuff. So, like, this is the best thing I've seen in a long time.
So, off topic, have you watched? Have you watched any of the? What are they calling it? I'm sorry, it's not Lois and Clark. It's I think it's Superman.
And Lois. No, I haven't. I heard it's all right, but I haven't watched.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: for what you're expecting, it's shockingly good. It's pretty cool. He's a pretty good Superman. The story is really good, but here's what the problem: they've somehow got to fill whatever they do in a year, 20 some episodes, and that's always the problem. I don't know why they force themselves to keep trying to do these, 9-month long seasons. Like, do 10 episodes and out. Third season of or is it the second season of Daredevil? Third season of Daredevil on Netflix was super good when they basically did. The storyline where he, not the Man Without Fear, but anyway, that's really good. I would put that up there, but it's nothing compared to this. I think.
Yeah, I really like the first. I like the first season of Jessica Jones. I really like the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. But this is better.
You think? Wait, you know what? The first half season of Luke Cage was great.
I like until that guy that I can't say his name.
Yeah, Cottonmouth.
I thought he was going to be the main bad guy, and I was super sad.
He was great too. That show really took a dive.
Man, what a fucking career that guy's having!
Right?
You went from half a season of Luke Cage to winning 2 Academy Awards back to back.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want. Any animated movie you want. That dude never has to leave his house again.
And he's fantastic. He's
always
great.
He's great in everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so happy when he took off after Luke Cage, because I was like, I hope this guy does something. And then now he's doing everything.
Anything he wants.
Yeah.
He wants. Yeah, for sure. So, all right, number 10, our last question. What could Marvel and DC learn from this adult-centric superhero show like this? Go ahead, man.
Unfortunately, I don't think Marvel will ever learn anything from this unless they do, because when Fox had some Marvel properties, they did Marvel Knights. So they did none of the movies were really good, but they did Punisher Warzone, which is all right. And then they did Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, which is awful. But they had a side label for more adult movies. And Marvel has comic series. They have the Marvel Max series, which is extremely adult. That is the whole point of it. So it's why not do that with your movies? Why not have a separate series where you can do rated R movies? They're making Blade movie with that guy with Mahershala. And I don't want to see a PG-13 Blade. I want to see a rated R Blade. I don't want vampires if they're not fucking biting people's necks out.
I think Blade is a great vehicle for this. I will say the one that they did the closest to correct was Logan. That one blew me away. Just go for it.
The original Blade is great. The first Blade is amazing.
Oh, no, they're really good.
Yeah.
But Wesley Snipes is probably going to be the best Blade we ever get. I just hope everybody recognizes that crazy bastard was made to play Blade.
It is true.
Nobody's ever going to be better than Wesley. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. I don't care how good. The movies might be way better, but nobody's ever going to be better than that crazy son of a bitch.
But I think DC could, if DC wants to skew darker and they want to try to focus on the more mature audience, then fucking lean into it harder like this. Make it real fucking adult.
Yeah.
But not just blood and guts. You have to put the only reason the blood and guts work so well in this is because it's so well written. and you care so much about everything and everyone, and it actually means something. Like when he goes to save that mother and her daughter, and the fucking building still goes down anyways, and he comes back up with a fucking stump of an arm in his hand.
Yeah.
Like, and you see it like fuck him up mentally. Like, you have to have shit like that. You have to
lean into it.
You have to be able to resonate with your audience. You can't. It's like nudity in a movie. You can't just have nudity for nudity's sake. It has to matter.
Yeah.
So you can't have this blood and guts and intestines spilling all over the place, but not and have characters that no one gives a shit about. That's how you get like Zack Snyder did, like Sucker Punch.
Right.
You can't have all these cool visuals and a weird ass storyline with non-compelling characters. Then
but you gotta care. Yeah, and then also this show did a great job. Like, I don't know how it's so dark and so many tragic things happen, but yet it's still at the very end. You're still Mark, as of now, prevailed. It's still uplifting. You know, it never became, you know, depressing or negative. Like, all these horrible things were happening. Mark just kept pushing through. I think that's kind of what it was about. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't succumb to it and feel sorry for himself or whatever. It was like, no, you gotta keep doing what you can. They live in a different universe to where these things happen a lot. I mean, how many freaking people died when the aliens came out? Just thousands and thousands of people died. You know, so they live in a different universe, you know, as far as that goes. But it never became dark. It was almost like, this is just how it is. You know, almost like, you know, if you did something that was really realistic, it would be like a war movie, you know, like one of those in the 80s. They made a lot of like gritty Vietnam movies to where, no, this isn't gratuitous violence. This is just what these guys went through. We got to show it to you. That's kind of what not to make light of all that, but I'm just saying that's what Invincible's getting at, is trying to say, like, this is their world, this is their life. You know, it's not.
Yeah, a lot of the action scenes in this are like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Is like he just wants to be a superhero, but he sees it from like what he's seen on the news.
Yeah,
he's actually experiencing it. It's like, holy fuck, people are dying. I can't save everybody. Like, what the fuck is going on?
There was a lot of that to this storyline. I wonder if they're going to lean into that. Like, it's not everything it's cracked up to be, you know, which is easy to do. Anybody in the real world, whether it's a kid becoming an adult, you're like, oh shit, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. Or whether it's you know, young man or woman, you know, becomes a soldier, they're like, whoa, this is fucking way different than I saw. Like, everything's different, you know, and that's kind of what Mark's dealing with. It's like, whoa, the reality of this is not, you know, what I thought it was going to be. And these dad's the old, you know, guy that's been through this and been through that. And he's trying to explain to him, like, no, I know you think that I'm wrong, but you're going to see one day. And I don't know where the storyline will go. Maybe as well, because see, now the thing is, Mark's not going to age now. Like, he's stuck at this age for, like, unless they, I guess, I mean, hey, they can do what they want. An animated show, they can be like, hey, guess what? You're 2,000 years old the next season. I have no idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're basically like watching desensitization happening.
Yeah, like, there you go.
These older characters that are, and that's what happens to like veterans and stuff, and police officers and everything else. Like, you have to become desensitized to what you're doing and what is happening. And that's how like Omni Man is, but he is so desensitized to everything that he has no humanity. And Mark is a kid, basically. So
I hadn't thought about the correlation.
Non-desensitized. Like, he is as pure as can be. He's never experienced any brutality whatsoever. Just like Battle Beast. Battle Beast is so desensitized that he has like a thirst and a yearning to constantly be in conflict, because it affects him in absolutely zero
way whatsoever. He needs more and more and more. Yeah, I think there's a lot to that. The overwhelming thing about this storyline is I think that's what it is, you know, desensitized, becoming jaded, like overcoming that, you know, what matters to you doesn't matter to me, kind of thing. Like this, or this is all, I know you think it's important now, but it's not, kind of situation that everybody goes through. And it's whether Mark can fight through that or not.
Well, it's similar to The Walking Dead. It's like, how much of your humanity do you have to sacrifice to make
yes
the hard choices that you need to survive or to protect people?
And you brought it up in your show at the very end of the season when Mark is like floating in front of his mom. That's where we see that, to where he's like, oh, that, okay. And she's like, really? Like I need reminded now that half my,
my husband just turned out to be a fucking monster.
Yeah. And then now I gotta see it in you, which goes to the whole thing of like, a wife recognizing in her child that, maybe she, or a husband recognizing that maybe a wife or a mother, whoever, wasn't who they thought it was. And then when they see it in their child, they're like, oh man, I forgot, it's half of their DNA belongs to them. This could be a struggle, kind of thing that they realize. I thought that, just little things like that they did the whole time. You're like, oh my God, like they're just constantly like punching you in the gut in this show.
So many layers to it. It's crazy.
Yes. Oh man. The world's biggest onion. So, oh man. So anyway, man, that was all 10 questions. That was a freaking blast. I'm glad we did it that way. Once again, everybody combine this, go to Four Nerds by Nerds, listen to their Invincible episode, listen to all their episodes, but definitely listen to the Invincible episode they did a couple weeks ago. It's really cool. They dig into some of the same stuff, but it's not a repeat. That's what I like about this. I had a ton of fun doing this. I think me and Josh have some things coming up in the future that are going to be kind of fun. But this was a lot of fun, man. I'm glad you came on to do this with me. I had a blast.
Fuck yeah, man. This was awesome. I'll come back anytime.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, you know the drill, man. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Hell yeah. We're the Four Nerds by Nerds podcast. We put out new episodes every Monday and Friday. We are on Twitter, FMBN Podcast. We are on Facebook and Instagram, FMBN, the number 4 and the letter U. If you like this awesome t-shirt I'm wearing of our logo, our mascot, Fred the Robot fighting Sub-Zero, you can get that and many other designs on our Threadless store, fmbn.threadless.com. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, all you guys are awesome over there, man. You're doing great work. Everybody go listen to them, check them out. There's so much stuff on there. If you like just movies in general, they do a lot of non-comic book movies. Some really, really fun stuff over there. They do an awful lot of comic book related stuff like I do. So
we get lost in the 80s a lot.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. You guys do a lot of fun. It's always a good time, but you bring a interesting perspective to it and have a lot of fun. You know what I mean? So you got to drive to work. Click them on, see what they're up to, and tell them Jeff sent you. So thanks for being here, everybody. That was Invincible. We loved it. We'll see you soon. Everybody, be kind to each other. Have a good week, and thanks for helping. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, buddy.